Hey guys, this is Coach Arnie. Welcome to part 4 of my Grand Canyon strength training video series here. I want to thank you guys for hanging on here. Remember, these are just the exercises that I have done, that I've developed for myself. Some of my clients, I do some specific exercises for them, but these are the general ones that work for most people, and we can tweak them, we can move them around for you. But this should give you a good idea of what you can do and how you can utilize some exercises in your program. Remember, we're endurance adventure athletes first. Endurance adventure athletes first, but we got to be strong. So stay tuned. Part 4, we're going to get into some really cool stuff, finish up with some strength stuff, and we'll just have some fun. All right, part 4 coming up. All right. Not that I want you to think that we're not doing any more upper body stuff, because we've done pretty good with upper body, but I always like to finish my workout with some shoulder work, some chest work, because you got to do a little bit of that as well. So the one we're going to work on right now is that I generally do is push-ups, and just a regular old-fashioned push-up. But I'm going to show you 2 different levels. One is flat, just on the mat here, and then the second one will be with my feet elevated. I generally like to do with my feet elevated because I only do one set. So only doing one set, and that way I can do as many reps as I can and not have to worry about doing multiple sets of push-ups, because I just want to get it done. But I like the feeling that push-ups give me as far as strengthening the shoulders and triceps and the chest. So you'll notice 2 different levels here. Choose what works best for you, and then work them into your routine. I like to do these every time I go to the gym. And you can do push-ups more often if you want. It's simple. Do them at home. If your upper body needs some extra work on these. It's important. But work them in as you feel fit. Remember, no rules here. So these are push-ups. All right, the last strength movement that I do before I do core movements is, and I'll explain that, is my single leg squat. This is more of an alignment movement. So after I've done all the work, I finish up my routine. Before I do some mobility work, I finish up my routine with single leg squats up on a bench. Actually, I use the squatting bench or stool, and I do these for 3 sets of 15 on each leg. It's just a simple, basically a quarter squat, single leg on both legs. And what that does, that realigns my knee, keeping the meniscus where it should be, and it works my glutes and quads in a way that allows me to properly realign my body after my workout. This keeps the knee pain away. It really does work. It's phenomenal. So these are single leg squats. Single leg squats. All right, the last section that I use for strength is core. Now, I do core training a little different. I just don't do it on the days I go to the gym. I do it separately, normally on my off days, if you want to call it off days. But I only do 2 core movements. One of them is a straight leg sit-up with a weighted ball. Now, the thing about straight leg sit-ups, They're a phenomenal way to build ab strength, core strength. And remember, let's go back. The core is anything from the sternum here, bottom of the sternum, all the way down to the top of your knees. That's your core. So sit-ups will work that area, but if you're going to do straight leg sit-ups, you got to have a strong lower back. So I would suggest bending your knees. But I'm going to show you what I do. Straight-legged sit-ups, I think, are great for building abdominal strength, and they bring in your hip flexors as well. So give them a try, but if your back's not in shape, you can't do them until you get your back in shape. And that's what all these other exercises are going to help you to do too. So the first one I'm going to show you is straight-legged sit-ups, and then the next one is my leg lifts or hip lifts, if you want to call them that. But I'll show you two different types, one with the hips flat on the bench, and you'll notice my legs are a little bent when I do these, a little bit. I'm trying to keep them pretty straight, but they're a little bent. And then the second one, I raise my hips up, and I'll add a twist to it. I'll raise my hips up and add a twist to it, and that really gives you a good abdominal burn. So those are it. So my hip lift, which is with the hips off the bench, and then I come all the way down and lift up. So you have to have an area where you can grab behind you. So those are the only two core exercises that I do personally. There are so many. If you have a favorite core exercise, go ahead. I'd love to hear about it, or do it. These are just the ones that I do, so I want to show you that. And that's all I do for core, and I try to do 2 to 3 days a week of these exercises. 2 to 3 days a week, and it hits my core, because everything else I'm doing too, when you're doing total body, guys, just so you know, you're working your core. But these are two that I can really feel. All right, so here we go. Straight leg sit-ups with weight and the hip lift, abdominal with the legs, leg lifts. Okay, now before we get into our last section, which is mobility, stretching, mobility, I want to drop in a couple videos here about what this is all this training for. You know, we're just not doing it to get stronger or be healthy. Those are great, but we're actually doing these exercises so that we can be better at going downhill, especially. So I'm going to show you two different videos. One is here, I call it Squaw Peak, many call it Pestowa Peak, and the other one is actually on the South Kaibab Trail in the Grand Canyon. So I'm going to show you why we're doing these movements, why it's important to do the exercise that we're doing to keep those hips in alignment. So I'm just going to drop those two videos in and give you an idea of what you should be training for and what you're going to actually have to do.
All right, hey, there goes Michael down the steps. I just want to kind of give you guys an idea of what you need to train for. Whenever you go down South Kaibab, you get the big drop-offs, even though these aren't too bad right here as we're getting closer to the bottom, but you're going to have to be ready for that 7.5 miles of pounding on your quads. It's a lot of work.
Hey guys, this is Coach Arnie. I'm over here at Squaw Peak, and I wanted to show you, as part of my training video, this is the area right near the top where you can stair step down. You can see that there. To me, this is one of the best places to train for the pounding coming down South Kaibab or even Bright Angel or the North Rim. but you need to put that pounding on your hips in your training in order to teach your muscles what to do. And I have found this to be the best place to get that type of training in. You can see it's stair-stepping your way down, but pounding, especially coming down, the key is to come down. Most people want to get that climbing. I like the pounding coming down. It's phenomenal. There you go.
All right, guys, the last section here is on mobility, and in a lot of ways, this is the most important section here. So we got to really focus on this, but that could be its own video in itself. But the first two exercises I do 4. The first 2 I do are on my back. I just flatten out my lower back. I let my knees fall apart, and I hold that for a couple minutes until I feel kind of loose. And then I rotate my hips by crossing my legs, and you'll see in the video. And I rotate my hips to the right, and then I cross the other leg, and I rotate my hips to the left. And my head always goes opposite of which way my foot goes, and you'll see that in the video as well. And then I do a pigeon stretch, which I got from a yoga movement. It's pigeon, so those of you in yoga know that. And I hold that for quite a long time. So it could be 2-3 minutes, depending on how tight my hip feels, but I hold yoga on each side for 2-3 minutes or more. And then I finish up with some active, I get up on my side and I spring up on my knees and I focus on extending my hips, and that really loosens up my, it's actually named a Turkish get up, but I can't do it straight away yet. I'm still working on that hip mobility. So I do about 5 to 10 of those on each side. And that's it. That's what ends my mobility work. So enjoy. Okay, this is Coach Arnie. Thank you so much. That's the end of part 4, and that ends the Grand Canyon strength training series for now. I'll be editing and adding new things. I'm heading down to the Grand Canyon a few more times before my big event this fall, which I'll be sharing with you guys, so stay tuned for that. But I appreciate you hanging in there for all 4. You could use them as you want, study them, pick the exercises out, try them, see how it works, tweak them, make them work for you. Maybe make this customized for you. You can contact me anytime you want, 602-390-9144. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Contact me on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. I love you guys. Hang in there and get down below the rim, but make it a great adventure.